All right, if you're in the world of medical billing, you know the headache of claim denials all too well. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest culprits out there, and by the time we're done here, you're going to have a rock-solid game plan to deal with it. So let's just dive right in. Does this look familiar? That frustrating, bundled, or inclusive denial? Ugh, you do all the work, you get the claim submitted perfectly, and then, bam, the payer tells you one service is just included in another. It's a real pain, for sure, and it can really hold up payments. But the good news is there's a way through it, and we're going to walk through it together. Yep, this denial is so common, it's practically a celebrity on denial cheat sheets everywhere, right? It's always hanging out with its friends, no pre-auth and duplicate denial. Seeing it is, well, it's just part of the job. But knowing what to do next, that's the game changer. It really is like a puzzle, and today I'm handing you the solution key. Okay, first things first. Before we can fight these denials, we have to get inside the payer's head a little bit. We need to understand exactly what they mean when they say bundled. It's all about speaking their language. So let's break it down. So here's the deal from the insurance company's point of view. When they see two procedures done at the same time, they might decide that one of them, the secondary one, is just naturally part of the bigger primary procedure. They're basically saying, hey, we're paying you for this main service, and the cost of that other little thing is already baked in. Even if you build them separately, they see it as one single package. The easiest way to think about it is like a fast food combo meal, right? You order the value meal, you don't get separate charges for the burger, the fries, and the drink. It's all bundled together. The insurance company is doing the exact same thing with your claim. They've paid for the burger, that's your main procedure, and they're telling you the fries were already included in that price. All right, so now we know what we're up against. It's time to put on our detective hats and start investigating. To beat this kind of denial, you can't just guess. You need a system, you need facts, and you need to have all your ducks in a row before you even think about picking up the phone. So where do you start? With these 3 simple steps. First, grab the basics, the denial date and the claim number. That's your case file. Second, you need to figure out which procedure on the claim is the primary one. And third, and listen up, because this one is absolutely crucial. You have to confirm whether or not that primary procedure actually got paid. These 3 little bits of info, they're the entire foundation for everything we're about to do. Okay, that brings up a really good question, right? If you're looking at a claim with a bunch of different CPT codes, how in the world do you know which one is the primary procedure? Luckily, it's not a guessing game. There's a super simple rule for this. And here it is. Simple as that. The primary procedure is just the one with the highest charge amount. That's it. It's the big ticket item on the claim, and from the payer's point of view, it's the anchor that everything else is tied to. So let's just lay it out side by side. Your primary procedure, that's the one with the highest charge, and it's the one that should have been paid. Now, if it wasn't paid, hold up. That's a whole different problem you need to tackle first. The bundled procedure is the one with the lower charge, and that's the one that got hit with that inclusive denial. Getting this straight is, well, it's everything. Okay, you've done your homework. You've got your facts lined up. Now it's time to argue your case. And I don't mean just calling and asking them to pretty please look at it again. Nope. We're going in with a logical, evidence-based argument to get this claim reprocessed. So what's your secret weapon? You need something more than just your own claim notes. You need an official, objective tool. And for these bundled denials, your absolute best friend is the encoder. Whether it's software or a good old-fashioned book, this thing is the rule book. It tells you exactly which CPT codes can be billed together and which ones can't. So when you get that insurance rep on the phone, you're going to be totally prepared. Here's what you do. You state your findings directly from the encoder. You explain why that CPT code isn't actually inclusive based on the official rules. Then, you politely but confidently request that they reprocess the claim. And before you even think about hanging up, get 2 things. A call reference number, that's your non-negotiable proof, and a TAT, a turnaround time, so you know when to expect the fix. But what happens when you do everything right? You've laid out a perfect, logical case, and the rep on the other end of the line still says no. This is a key moment. You don't want to get stuck arguing in circles. Knowing when to escalate is just as important as knowing how to make your case in the first place. It's time to call in the cavalry. So let's just imagine this. You've laid out your encoder findings, you've been polite, you've been firm, and they're just not budging. The answer is no. They are not going to reprocess that claim. What do? Well, you don't keep banging your head against the wall. It's time to pivot. And that pivot is simple. It's time to escalate this to your coding team. Seriously, your work on this claim is done, for now. You hand it over to the experts who can look at it from a totally different angle, a clinical one, a regulatory one, and they can take the fight to the next level if that's what it takes.
Now, to make sure this handoff is super smooth, you need to give your coding team a complete package. Don't just toss it over the fence. Give them the claim number and denial date, all the details from your call, including that super important reference number and the rep's name, your notes that show the primary CPT was paid, and of course, your findings from the encoder. You're basically handing them a ready-made case file so they can hit the ground running.
So let's boil this whole thing down to a simple, powerful checklist. Step 1. Investigate. You find that primary CPT, you check that it was paid. Step 2. Argue. You use the encoder to make a rock-solid case. And step 3. Escalate. If you hit a brick wall, you send all your amazing notes over to coding. That's it. Investigate, argue, escalate. You got this.
So there you have it, a clear playbook for fixing these bundled denials when they pop up. But that gets you thinking, doesn't it? Now that you know how to fix them, what about preventing them? How can you and your team get ahead of the game so these don't happen in the first place? Now that is the next level. Thanks so much for joining me.